What's up, guys? What's going on? Welcome back to Minecraft. I think I need more fireworks. What's going on, Pivmo, Angel, Les, Mario, Jason, Phantom? Dude, I'm gonna wait for a little more people to get in here, and then I'll start talking about Zelda stuff. But I'm working on a video right now with my thoughts and opinions on it. It's not ideally the video I'd want to make, but I want to say a couple things. Oh yeah, hold on, cat girl. I was waiting for you to join so I can put you in my description. Hold on. Let me put you in the description right now as I fly into the abyss. Thanks for the thumbnail. You need to make me another one for Zelda, based off of the new Link to the Past, the new Ocarina of Time one. Give me a thumbnail. Give me a couple of them, please, for a video, so I can throw you in there. Hold on, where's my settings? Let's see, edit, thumbnail by. There you go. What is this song? I've never heard this song. What was the emeralds down there? I said I need a thumbnail. I did, Chibi Zane. I need a thumbnail for Zelda, the new Ocarina of Time that's coming out, with my little face on there. So like, I don't know, using new assets of the game, or yeah, it has to be the new, like, Ocarina of Time. Ooh. I need these. Especially because I killed one. Oh, wait, can I not grab it because I have my shield? What the hell was that fell? Is that lava? Lydia, give me a couple variations, please. What abyss? Oh, this is where Terrorizer found those dinosaurs yesterday. You guys remember that? Were you guys there in the stream? Have I been here? To this one? Sup, Italo? Hmm. Ooh, what's this thing? Forgot about these orbs. They're just floating in the sky. These meatballs. Was that a fortress? Ooh. Okay, okay, okay. Let me come back. Let me come back. Hold on, where's my portal? There it is. I do have gold, but I don't care. I'll kill Wildcat's cousins. Hold on. So it's northeast, right? So insert. I gotta start these all over again. Insert. It'll be red. Actually, no. For nether, I guess, yeah. Nether portal. Wait, no all types of jukebox. What does that mean? I don't know what that means, fool. I know that there's music. Fucking Wildcat, you hear him? Oh, there's another portal over there. What the? Insert. Fortress? Alright. There's a decent amount of people here. It's like 100 of you guys. Look. I'm gonna talk about the Ocarina of Time remake because I'm making a video on this, like my thoughts and opinions on it. And I want to let it be known that I don't want them to fuck with the oh, somebody was in here. Oh, I was in here before. I was here before. Oh, there's a tower over there too. Let me get this block of gold real quick. I got it right. Okay, melted. Never mind. I did not get it. But that means if this is the one that I think that I'm at, hold on. There should be. No, this is a different one. I wonder if my friend's been to one of these. Hold on, I'll get into talking about it. Just give me a sec. Let me see if there's a warp stone here. There is. I see it. Do I have it marked? Looks like it's glowing already. Which one is this? Oh, villagers and husk tower. Okay, yeah, I do. Alright, so maybe that was me who went through that nether thing, but I don't think I went to that fortress, so I'll save that fortress. Man, I lost all my Excaliburs too. I'm so sad. Like my locations for them. That sound that you're hearing, that thunder striking, is me ascending into the sky. Sheet of time, sheet of storm. Oh shit, is this a big nether portal over here? On the beach? GTA 1v1 beach? Is one of them? It is. Trick bow. I'll play Elden Ring soon, alright? Just give me a moment. Give me un momento, por favor. Oh, I want that gold. Play Tears of the Kingdom with no warping? Well, you have to not warp in the very beginning. But I get what you're saying. It does make the game last a little longer. Fuck, I'm missing one piece. Two piece. No, whoa, shit. Like what? Couple pieces, actually. I think I have some obsidian at the house. Right, insert. Insert. It'll be red again because it's a nether portal. New, huge. No, huge nether portal. Sup, Wraith? Hey, Louis Fong. Low key, start playing Elder Ringworms again. I just love how you catch the bosses in that game. How about that? Wraith, I never want to know if you can speak English, right? Ever. Like, proper. I don't want to know that it was just a joke or not. Wait, looks kind of suspicious. Keep the grammar like that for all time. Alright, never mind, there's nothing here. So Ogle Fire. And Hammer. Is that a gold pig? Oh, never mind. Why is it gold? There's no use for crying obsidian, right? Somebody's been here. It wasn't me. Raw salmon and string. Wait, what is this? Potion of what? Poison? In Zelda games, you save a princess. Or the land. Brown stained glass. Is there any secret treasure chest that I'm missing? Oh. A weird place for a workbench. Kind of like these windows, though. That's fine. He can have his windows. Such an awkward placement by the stairs, too. Alright. So an Ocarina of Time comes out, right? When it gets re-released. I believe there's a chance for Nintendo to add stuff to it that touches like old lore and new lore. And I'm worried because I'm a believer that the Zonai are the ones from Tears of the Kingdom, those goat-looking dudes. I'm a believer that they come from, like, they're in the future. Some people believe that they come from the ancient past. Like, the goddesses made them first. And I don't subscribe to that belief. Hold on, what the fuck is up with all these nether portals? Heart stealer. That's what I am. I don't think that they come from, I think that they're a new creature or a new race that the goddesses created to watch over the new Hyrule. To be keepers of it. And to hide the past. Like the Omega past. What I mean by that is like the old past now is the old games. That makes sense to you guys. If not, it's okay. Only very few people know Zelda stuff, so I don't believe all you guys that are in here like know what the fuck I'm talking about at all. But yeah, like I want to believe that the Zonai are they're new. I don't like the thought of them have been here like since the beginning of the Legend of Zelda series. Just seems off. It doesn't make sense to me. And I do want to say this, though, just because it doesn't make sense to me doesn't mean that it's not right. I mean, if Nintendo says that they were first, absolutely first, then gotta go with what Nintendo says, that they were absolutely first. I might not like it, but it's what it is. That's it. It's another portal? Okay. Let me insert nether portal. But I'm gonna make a video that's talking about I could use this for the bigger one, but at the same time I don't want to lose this one. You know what? But there's two. I actually need one more up, huh? This is too small. All right, I'll put it on the bigger one. I will put it on the bigger one. See, Daniel, how you're saying that Raru's human? If it can't be the same Raru, obviously, because Raru would have said that he sealed the Triforce or some shit like that. Like, if Ganon became Demon King Ganon, I think Rauru would have been like, hey, I used the Master Sword, which is a very powerful weapon that was used to kill the Demon King of old, Demise. So let's go get that and use that to get rid of this new Demon King. And if worse comes to worse, we'll get the Triforce and we'll use the Triforce against him. And then they have a Temple of Time that's all old and different looking in the sky. I think it was on the ground though, during that time though, when Rauru was there. So it's like, that Temple of Time is not the same Temple of Time as back in the day, you know what I mean? How, dude? Yeah, there's a lot of theories. See, the thing is about these theories, I try my best to, like, come up with one, like, what would turn them into goats, though? You know what I mean? It just makes no sense. Like, why would they just all of a sudden look that way? That's what I try making the basis of a theory, like, what's plausible? Some shit you do have to, like, be real dramatic, but I try my best to not have to, like, Is that an Enderman? I try my best to make, like, not have to really, really speculate. Of course, that's, like, where a lot of the theories come from. It's just like, alright, is it a theory that, like, this Link could have done this or did that? What the fuck? Hold on. Alright. They're dealt with. Yeah, what that's gonna bother me too. If I see Rauru in the remake like a goat, that's really gonna bother me. Or if they say, hey, I'm the Sage Rauru that was named after the first king, but at that time, Hyrule was not, Hyrule Kingdom was not created yet. The Sacred Realm was still, what the fuck? There's the tower that I was at. The Sacred Realm was, sealed before the founding of the kingdom. So what? Did the Zonai go, hey, we're gonna name Rauru after the sage that created the Sacred Realm? We're gonna name our son this. I hope they don't say some shit like that. Like, I don't know, there's just... I don't want them to take away from the story of Zelda to add a bunch of shit from the other games. If that makes any sense. I wonder if I should wait for my friends before exploring this area. Let me just make sure, though, real quick, that I didn't touch... No treasure has been touched by me. Because if there has been treasure touched by me, then I know we've been here. This looks very familiar, though. But obviously they all do, but... I like that song. Oh, yeah, this fortress hasn't been fucked with. Alright, see. Maybe it has, because the door looks open. Maybe I just haven't gotten here. It's the pig step song. That dude fell from fall damage. I wonder if one of my friends wants this song. Alright, I'll come back here with my friends. All this shit looks man-made though. Some of it. Wait, is this another one? Is this like that fortress that the pigs are in? What is it called? Oh yeah, it is. Ooh, another one for my friends and I to explore. Alright, I'll mark it right here. I forget what this is called. Dungeon? I don't know. Question marks. Who knows? Yeah, I think okay. So let me just teleport away real fast. I'm gonna go home. What I'll do is I'll start kind of fixing up my castle home place. That's what I'll do. I'll start taking away all this cobblestone and start making it look like something instead of just this. I'll fix this right now. Alright, that's what we'll do. You know what? I need to add mending to this pickaxe, or this axe. Shimmer. XP boost and shimmer. Hold on, let's talk Zelda real quick. But let me just go over here. Alright. You guys ready? So with the new Ocarina of Time remake, I'm excited for it, but I'm also scared for it. Like, could you imagine what the cutscenes are gonna look like with this new Legend of Zelda? It's gonna be crazy. Like the creation on the Switch 2 now. If they're going with realistic graphics, imagine what the creation story is gonna look like when the Deku Tree is telling Link how the world was created. The last time we saw a decent creation story was for the Wii on Twilight Princess and the Twilight Princess remake for the Wii U, right? So it's like, dude, it's gonna be crazy how it's gonna look. Now we have so many stories that like intertwine with that. What's gonna be crazy is the creation now has another story to it. Prior to the actually at the time of creation, the reason why Hyrule was created was to imprison Noel. And if you guys don't know who Noel is, in 2024 on the Switch 2 or the Switch, they came out with The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. And what that game was about was a entity named Noel. And Noel was getting rid of all life that started appearing in the universe. So as life started forming, Noel was erasing it. And the goddesses were like, no! This guy's not letting shit be created, so they trapped him. They trapped Noel inside Hyrule. They trapped Noel inside of Hyrule. And pretty much, if you guys seen Naruto, there's an enemy named Kaguya, and she threatened the world and stuff. And her two sons, Hashirama and Hagoromo, fuck, I forget his name. Hagoromo? Is it Hagoromo? So many names now, so many different animes, and so many similar names. Hagoromo, right? Her two sons sealed her in the moon. So she's like, even to this day, she's trapped in the moon right now, I guess. Right? But, that's what happened, though. That's what happened. The goddesses sealed Noel in the earth, in Hyrule. So when the Deku Tree is telling Link this story, he's saying 3 goddesses created Hyrule, gave it life, gave it everything. And when they left, the Triforce was there in their wake. So it's like the point that they just departed from the Earth. Like, let's just say Earth was created by 3 people, 3 goddesses, and the point where they left the three triangles, the Triforce, in the shape of a big triangle. Okay? So, now there's backstory to it. Like, that the Deku Tree was just saying the goddesses made the Earth and they left the Triforce behind. And the Triforce can grant the user their wish. And there's also legends of the Triforce and how it works and stuff like that, but we don't need to get into that right now. But in Ocarina of Time, like, I hope that they don't, in this remake, they don't overstuff it. That's the problem. I would love to kind of see some little Easter eggs, and I'll explain that too, or even alluding to the future games, because when Ocarina of Time came out, it was the 5th game ever created. Since then, there's been, I think, 12 plus, I don't know how many, like, mainline Zelda games. I don't want to go through all of them, and I'm standing up, and I'm not going to go, like, but I just know there's, like, 12 plus mainline Zelda games since Ocarina of Time. And some of them are before, and some are after. Like, Minish Cap and the 4 Swords are before, Skyward Sword is before. Then afterwards, there's Twilight Princess, Majora's Mask, and obviously Wind Waker, The Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and then everything in the Downfall timeline, right? But what are things that we could see, or that I think we could see? In Ocarina of Time, they might expand upon, like, there might be a Skull Kid now that we see. Since Majora's Mask wasn't made until after Ocarina of Time, and the story and all that stuff wasn't even planned, now, in this remake, we could see a Skull Kid, right? That looks like he's mischievous, looks like he's, like, fucking, like, he could be talking about, I want friends. I want a new world. I want another place. You know what I mean? Shit like that. That's like, oh, that's still gonna be the motherfucker from Majora's Mask. Ooh, like stuff like that that hints at things. Or you might see when you first meet the masked salesman. When you talk to the masked salesman, he might look all suspicious and be like, oh, we're not open yet. Like if you go to the shop when it's not open or late at night, you see him hiding something. And it's like, that could be Majora's Mask that he's talking about or hiding. And it's only for us to allude to, like, oh shit, that's Majora's Mask. You know what I mean? Or maybe when we're in the Gerudo Valley and we're going to like the Spirit Temple, maybe we could see the Arbiter grounds in the background. Maybe we do see the Mirror of Twilight back there or some shit like that. Like maybe we see stuff like that that makes sense. And you're like, oh, that's cool. That's cool, because that existed. You know what I mean? Also, too, if you look up to the sky, I hope we do not see any Zonai shit. Maybe we could see stuff from the Picori or the Minish. Maybe we could see stuff from the Uka, like their city in the sky. But I do not want to see Zonai stuff. Maybe Skyward Sword stuff, even. But I don't want to see Light Dragon Zelda flying in the sky. Because I'm like, no! Because that means the Zonai Pass did happen before Ocarina of Time. I want Zeldas, the Link that dress in green, I want all of them to be in the original timelines. And then I want some convergence or something to happen. Something, some way, somehow, that they all go together, and then Tears of the Kingdom's ancient past, past the ancient past that we see in the cutscenes, where we're talking about the Zonais and all that, come back. No, Hyrule Warriors, which one? Which one? Because all Hyrule Warriors are not canon except Age of Imprisonment. Age of Imprisonment is the only one that's canon. I hate when people reference, I'm not saying you, Shield, but I hate when people reference stuff from the mangas or the Hyrule Historia little comic that they had of Skyward Sword, and they get ideas from that, or they get ideas from other theories. Like they use other theories, like MatPat's theory saying that Hyrule Warriors, the first one, can make the whole timeline thing fix. And it's like, no. The only timeline, or the only thing that's canon in Hyrule Warriors is Age of Imprisonment. Yeah, see? No. The MatPat one doesn't work. Those beans and all that shit, like that thing, like I'll be honest, I never even played that game. I never played that Hyrule Warriors. I'll tell you this is why. I already saw that Nintendo said it wasn't canon. And I thought it looked cheap. And I didn't like the way the text sounded, like when it was being written, kind of like Twilight Princess, like when the text is being written on screen, it's like, it's like, what the fuck? This isn't an 8-bit game, like old Nintendo stuff. I didn't like it. What up, Admire? Yeah, Sniff. Mifa in Breath of the Wild talking about Ruto, Princess Ruto falling in love with Link could fit in the adult timeline because Princess Ruto was there, and the downfall timeline because they say Princess Ruto was there. But child timeline, she was never awakened as a sage. So it's like, wait, does it not take place in the downfall or the child timeline? The child timeline, if we're being honest, seems the least likely out of all the timelines to place the story in, but that's why I feel like the timelines converge. There was a mixture of the worlds and the timelines, and the goddesses were kind of like, let's just put everything all together. Or, crazy theory, ready? I also think maybe Noel at one point in one of the timelines got the complete Triforce, and since he's some crazy being that we don't like, and he has like, there's echoes, like he gets the knowledge of other beings and stuff like that. Maybe he caught wind. Maybe he ate the goddesses. Who knows? Because he kind of trapped their essence or whatever in Echoes of Wisdom, and you had to save them as Zelda. That's the first time you actually hear the goddesses speak in game. But what if Noel, right? What if Noel, since he wants to consume everything, use the Triforce to merge all existence together so that he could merge it, like, so he could eat it and consume it all and turn it back to nothing. But at that point, he was stopped or some shit like that by, and like I said, they can throw out so many theories. Like, let's just say, who's going to save Hyrule this time if Noel has a Triforce? Well, maybe Lorule did. Maybe since Hyrule, like, Lorule owes Hyrule, maybe, like, Lorule was like, use our Triforce. And they wished for, like, everything to, like, be recreated again. Not a restart, but you know what I'm saying? Like, just a boom, like, all the knowledge, all the prior knowledge and everything doesn't get erased, but it's just, let's start a whole fresh new world with everything inside. Would you count the Hylia statue as a way to talk to Hylia? Now that's another thing. So check this out. You know how Hylia speaks to you, right? In game? And apparently she was close with the Zonai. Like, she was really close with Zonai. She was the one who gave them the secret stones, according to the new Masterworks. It goes era of myth, then it goes to the era of the gods, and that's where, like, era of myth is the old games, then era of the gods is the new shit, like where the old Zonai existed, and then it's the founding and all that shit. Then it leads to, like, the Breath of the Wild, the 10,000 years later and all that shit, right? I feel like what could happen is the Zonai were created as, remember, Zonai means, like, in Japan, it's like mystery. Zonai, I don't know if it translates to mystery or alludes to mystery. I have to look into that again. But Zonai means, like, mystery. Something about mystery. And I feel like when the goddesses, when the whole world and everything got reset, it's not that it's a reboot or a restart, or I think it's a restart or a reset. Like a let's try this all over again. Kind of like Mortal Kombat's Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 1, where he's building like the timeline all over again. I think it all converged to one. One, I feel it helps the stories. Like all the old Legend of Zeldas, like prior to Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they did happen. They did happen in a past that's so far and gone. And the goddesses maybe were like, let's try to stop this curse, this hatred from demise. And maybe let's try to reset everything. We'll even give Ganondorf a chance to be human and normal. And there, let's just start everything over. Like, boom, let's clean slate. And again, not in a bad way. Not like, or again, maybe there could have been a huge war. We don't know. It's always like speculation. But I'll tell you what gets me here. It's because everything you see in Breath of the Wild and in Tears of the Kingdom has references to every single timeline. Obviously, it's that famous speech where Zelda is like talking to Link during the not the knighting ceremony, but she's talking to him, telling him like, you know, you and the Master Sword are pairs, whether it's skyward bound, through the twilight, and through time. Like, obviously those games happened before. Like, that she's not just saying all that stuff because those are nice lines to say. It's because it happened. There are islands or places that are named after Tingo's brothers that happened in Wind Waker. The Rito, which were different in Wind Waker to what they are now in Breath of the Wild, were Zoras that evolved due to the flooding. But maybe because, like, you know, they're their own entities and all stuff. Like, again, the goddesses were kind of like, when everything was reset, it's like, boom, there's a race of Rito, there's a race of Zora. And maybe there are Rito, maybe there are some Rito that look like the Rito from Wind Waker. Just like there's Zoras, like the ocean Zoras that look like they do in Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Because there's river Zoras that are like ugly that look like the ones from A Link to the Past, but we don't see those. We don't see those in Tears of the Kingdom. But that doesn't mean they don't exist. But we don't see the ugly looking green ones in there. The only close thing that we see is Sidon's wife, which is Yuna, who comes from a different kingdom. Right? That's the only one that we see. So I feel like there could possibly be two different types of Rito, maybe in different lands. But, or this is how much they evolve. They evolve now where they don't need like a ceremony and all that stuff to get their wings from Valoo and their abilities to fly. Maybe at this point now, like they're just full-fledged birds. Not like humanoid birds, but more like birds. I find it weird to be like, yo, a Hylian fucked a Loftwing from Skyward Sword. Or maybe the Loftwings evolved into them. Like, I like the Loftwings as a Loftwings. It'd be weird to be like, the Loftwings evolved into their own creatures now. So it's like, hey, Hylians, you used to ride my ancestors when you were in the sky. That's weird. That's weird to think that. Like, for me, I feel. I think, the timeline getting reset helps Nintendo with their storytelling and helps us as fans appreciate the old games. But now we're on like a new trajectory, like one new singular timeline where it doesn't always have to be Ganon, Triforce, Master Sword. You know what I mean? Like, I think Vaati was a cool character. Like the purple little Minish dude from the Minish cap. I thought he was cool. And that cap was really powerful because you can use that cap to make a wish for whatever you want. Now, there's some things also for speculation-wise. In Breath of the Wild, they were thinking of putting the Minish in there. And I think either Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. They were thinking of having like small settlements where you could get small, like shrink and see the Minish. I don't know why they didn't come up with that idea, but also in Breath of the Wild, they thought about having Link with one arm. And then they used that idea in Tears of the Kingdom where he loses his arm, or his arm gets all like fried by the gloom. And then Rauru replaces his arm with his arm. And there was also going to be some alien invasion. Like Zelda was going to probably be like futuristic where aliens were coming in. So maybe that's where they got the idea from the Zonai again, something descending from the skies. But there was a lot of ideas that they had then. So for me, here's one thing too that I haven't seen people really talk about. It's also the language. In A Link to the Past, you need this book called the Book of Murda to like translate ancient Hylian texts. And I know they write Hylian a little differently because they have that dude in Tears of the Kingdom that when you find those things by Linalia, the chambermaid, the chamberlain, that fat Gorlock chick that writes everything down in Age of Imprisonment, Zelda's attendant there. She writes those little things in each of the regions in Tears of the Kingdom, and then they get translated in Kakariko Village, right? Well, it's crazy how Zelda and Rauru in the past, they don't have a weird dialect. Like, remember, this is over 10,000 years. This could have been anywhere between 100,000, 20,000, 50,000 years. We don't know. We just know that the last time in modern times for The Legend of Zelda that a calamity struck, and we're not talking about Ganondorf, we're talking about Calamity Ganon struck, was about 10,110 to 16 years, or no, 2 to like 10 years. So 10,102 to 10 years. All right, so we'll estimate like this. 10,110 years ago was the last time the calamity struck that the Sheikah had used the divine beast to stop Ganon. Calamity Ganon. And before that, we don't know how they stopped Calamity Ganon before that, but they said this happens many, many times. And if they say many, many times, to us, we only know the one that happened in the last like 10,110 years ago, and the one we played through in Breath of the Wild. That's only 2. That doesn't seem like many, many times that's endured through the ages and stuff, you know? So again, since Ganon was sealed by Rauru in Tears of the Kingdom's past, who fucking knows how long it's been? Like, we don't know how long that stretch of time was from when he was sealed to when we fight him. That they're very unclear. But I like to think, like I said, it's a new timeline, and they can explore that shit. Like, what happened during those times? Maybe we'll get a game where we can play as like the hero that saved the of the 9 heroine in the Gerudo area, where all those big statues are. Maybe we can see that. But I feel like I said, all that stuff does not happen before Ocarina of Time. Yes, Wraith. Operation Foreskin Fury. No, they don't even mention the Triforce by name. Only like symbolism, Leo. And that's one thing like I don't like. I mean, I do like. And that to me is further evidence that I think that, okay, so I think when everything reset and the Zonai were created for this new world, they were there to be overseers, watchers. I don't think Hylia was going to be like on the forefront anymore. So this is the 2 things that I feel would happen. All right? Zeldas exist, which means Hylia's bloodline is still from Skyward Sword trickling down to the end and the convergence of the timeline. Now, when the goddesses reset everything, they brought Hylia back, gave her divinity, and she's probably just up in the heavens now, or just the spirit. You know, maybe she doesn't have a body to go into, but she oversees stuff too. And that's when she was like, all right, I need new guys, new bodyguards. I need someone to guard me. The Sheikah guard, they used to guard me back in Skyward Sword. Those were my Secret Service. They will still be the Secret Service to the royal family. But now I want a Secret Service for my divine, my heavenly form. And maybe that's when the Zonai were made. And that's where, like, all right, look, we're going to give them secret stones. We're going to give them secret stones in case anything happens. They'll be blessed with magic. And they had all their technology and all that stuff, and they started creating the world. And they're like, here, this is stuff from the old world. And like, it was the Majora's Mask, the Fused Shadow, the Dusk Blade, which is the sword that the sages used to stab Ganon with in Tears of the Kingdom. All those treasures are hidden in the depths, where the ancient Zonai mined. I also think that that temple, the fire temple, the hidden city of Gorania or whatever, or Gordonia in Tears of the Kingdom, I think that's the old temple in Ocarina of Time, because the old temple, the old fire temple in Ocarina of Time, was inside Death Mountain. And it also could be the Earth Temple in Skyward Sword. It could be both. And then, like, that was like the ancient city. When they said the ancient city of Gordonia or whatever, I don't know. I gotta still kind of look into that more, because I know they said that the Zonai helped them build, but I'm not too sure. But it'd be sick if that's the thing. And yeah, so look it. Boy Yippee, that's what I'm believing. That they used they hid the Triforce, because that's the case and the start for every war. Every major war in Zelda, the very first one with Demise and Hylia was for the Triforce. So I think like they're like, you know what? We should just wish it out of people's minds. Like, no more. And then only the ones that know about it are the Zonai. They keep it like hidden. They keep it a secret. Yeah, they have the boars like that. That's for power, and then the dragon for courage, and then they have the owl for wisdom, and they have those motifs for it. But nowhere do they explicitly say Triforce. Triforce this, Triforce that. Yes, Banna, you should get canes. Nah, because they're not the Triforce of Courage and those 7 pieces. Like, they can't be like, secret stones are separate. And even if you were to put the secret stones together, they won't make a triangle. They all bear the same shape. And they don't. That's not how only the Triforce of Power seems to actually give you power. I don't see how the Triforce of Courage will amplify, because the secret stones are stones that amplify power you already have. They don't give you power. And now when it comes to the old sages, right? The old sages have their medallions shown in Hylia's temple, in the Temple of Hylia. You can see it in the very beginning when you lived in Skyloft, or when the temple crashes down, you can see it complete. You can see a Triforce. Then you could see the Forest Medallion, the Fire Medallion, the Water Medallion, the Shadow Medallion, and the Spirit Medallion, and the Light Medallion. The only one you don't see is Time, because they never had a Time Medallion. But I find it weird that they would go like, all right, we have these medallions. These are the sages, and then all of a sudden, Tears of the Kingdom happens, and it's like, all right, well, we don't have the Gerudo have the Spirit Medallion. I mean, that can change. The holder of the medallions, or the sages, the types of sages could change. Forest Medallion, I do believe back in the day, if you look at the way the Twilight Princess Medallion works, you look at Wind Waker, it's wind. Like, you even get the Gale Boomerang from that temple in the Forest Temple, which isn't called the Wind Temple in Twilight Princess, but you get the Gale Medallion. And there's swirls and all that shit. Even on the medallion itself, it looks like a pinwheel. It looks like it was supposed to be wind. If you go through Ganon's tower, it looks like it's wind. You use a lot of wind for it. So I think that the medallions were supposed to be wind. Like, you get what I'm saying? We'll see what kind of, like, when you get the Sage's medallions, what they're going to give Link in this new Ocarina. If they go, here's our stones, here's our Sage's stone or something like that, or here's our secret stone, it's going to be, what? We'll see. We'll see how it's handled. But the medallions are the types of, not elements, but what they were, their properties, were forest, which is probably wind. It's probably going to be, we'll see. Maybe they will retcon it or change it to win this time. It was the Forest Sage, Fire Sage, Water Sage. Then it's Shadow Sage. We don't have Shadow anymore. We have Lightning. And then it's Spirit Sage. We do have Spirit. We do have Light. And we do have Time. But we didn't have Time back in the day. But Zelda does say that. She does say in Ocarina of Time, the Sage to lead them all is me, Princess Zelda. She doesn't say what she has. But she does say at the end of Ocarina of Time, she goes, as a Sage, give me the Ocarina of Time, and I can send you back to your time. So I'm pretty sure she is the Sage of Time. They never explicitly say it, but I'm pretty sure 100% she is the Sage of Time. Especially now that we see this Tears of the Kingdom, I'm sure, like, you know, she's like the 7th Sage of Time. No, she never says she's a Sage of Time in Ocarina of Time. How dare you, Kevin? Don't make me pull up the game. She doesn't even say as a Sage of Time. She just says as a Sage. And when she reveals herself to you in the Temple of Time, she just says, and the 7th Sage to lead them all. And she goes, bing, me, Zelda. She doesn't say, I'm the Sage of Time. She never explicitly says she's the Sage of Time. Watch. If we're wrong, I'm never hearing anything you have to say ever again. Alright? I'm playing it right now. I'm going to share a screen. I'm going to play it. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you right now. Never, ever, ever. Because you never even see a medallion. Watch, watch, watch. Here we go. Ocarina of Time. I'll put both too. Like, so you can see, like, even on the replay. Watch. Or the remake at the time. You're wrong. Ooh. Because I can't believe you hit me with the yes, she does, brother. Oh, the brother is a thing. Brother was a thing. Ooh, that was the line right there. That was the line. Hold on. I don't know why the videos aren't coming up. Hold on. Watch, watch, watch! Where the fuck is it at? Hold on. I'm gonna show you both. When she reveals herself. That's after this. Nope. Alright. You guys ready for this? Bam 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 bam. Watch, watch, watch. I'm gonna show you truly how far my Zelda knowledge goes. Ready? Hold on. Alright, you guys see this? I'm not saying that Zelda is not the Sage of Time. Zelda never says, I'm the Sage of Time. Just read the dialogue. Read the dialogue. Watch. Don't look, spoiler. Look, 7th Sage. Destined to lead them all. Alright. No, Jay, I think you can just manipulate time itself. But I fucked it up, see? Something I thought never could expect happened. I fucked everything up. Blah! You see? Then kidnapped. And then... real quick, you see this right here? Sage of shadow, light. Look at forest. That looks like a windmill, dude, or a pinwheel. That's wind. But we'll call it so. We'll still say forest because that's what it is right now. Forest, fire. And this looks like ice, but water, spirit. Shadow doesn't exist. This is lightning now. Forest doesn't exist. This is wind now. Where's time? Maybe they were hiding it. Maybe it was right here. She's a leader, so maybe it's right here. Okay, but hold on, though. Hold on. Wow, look at cursing Zelda. Then the sages. Sages are separate? She's right there. When Wind Waker comes out, I'm gonna fuck you up. Watch, look at, she doesn't say, as the sage of time. Watch this. Ready? Ready? Hold on. Right here. As a sage, not as the sage of time. Blah, 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 blah. You see? Challenge me again, I dare you. Challenge me again. I dare you. Camelo. Colton, shut the fuck up. You know what's so sad about this now? Okay, look. This Link built relationships and memories with all these people, and now she just sent him back before he went on his journey. He literally just got to Hyrule Castle Town and doesn't know anybody anymore. All those memories he has of knowing all those people, fucking gone. All those adventures, gone. And now he's just a rat. All he does is go to the king or Zelda and Impa and say, "Hey, bro, watch. Let me show you. Look. Look, everybody in the future's all celebrating. Look. They're all having fun. Link doesn't even get to celebrate in his party. It's very interesting. Look. It's very interesting to see that the Gerudo are here. Oh, let me see. Oh yeah, also, little do we know this guy's gonna get robbed. Who knows how long after this ending. But his fucking world's gonna turn upside down. This guy's gonna get robbed and Majora's Mask stolen. Varson! Bell's fanfare? But look, the Gerudo right here is celebrating. So they didn't like Ganon either. You know what I'm saying? They didn't like Ganon. Like, these chicks didn't like Ganon. They're probably part of, like, Naburu's side. Which is, like, kind of like Artie from Ancient Past of Tears of the Kingdom and Age of Imprisonment. They were kind of like, I don't like them. I don't like him at all. But remember when they're in the future, the the bridge from Gerudo Valley to Hyrule is broken. So maybe he did that to them? Who knows? But Kume and Kotake, the twins, they're still over there in the spirit temple. So, although he cut them off, or maybe he didn't cut them off, maybe that happened somehow, some way, somehow. Again, the bridge. Who collapsed the bridge? Maybe I'll work with Zeltic on Etheria and who dropped the Gerudo Valley Bridge and why? Why didn't anybody fix it? Yeah, everybody's celebrating. And all the sages are here, except Zelda and Rauru. See, he put the Master Sword back in. Dipped out. You know what would actually be sick if Link pulls the Master Sword out? If you have to play the Fire Temple. No, Cat Mello, they're not all dead. I don't know who said the sages were dead. Anyone could infer or believe that, but again, Noburu wasn't dead. Remember? As soon as you break Iron Knuckle, she's like, where am I? And she tries to run away, and then the witches teleport her somewhere. And they say, oh, we're going to do something about your brainwashing and all that shit. She's not dead. They said Impa went to the Shadow Temple, but we didn't see Impa die. Nobody... It's old Nintendo 64. We don't know what happened to him. The only time you can think somebody died is when Durania goes, I'm going to go face Volvagia, the dragon. I always called him Volvagia when I was younger. I don't know why. Or Volvagia. Who knows what his name is? Volvagia or Volvagia. But that dragon, he goes, I'm going to go fight that guy. I don't even have a fucking hammer, but I'm going to do it. And then when you go in there, you don't see him. So we don't know if he got killed or eaten or if he's just hiding. We don't know. It's Nintendo 64. Maybe they'll have you fight with him. But we'll see. We don't know. We don't know if he's dead or not. Alright. No, we don't even know she died by Phantom Ganon. Because if all these ghosts, like if all these sages died, then why can't we just use the ancient sages in Tears of the Kingdom then? They're dead. Why can't we use them then? They're ghosts. Shouldn't we be able to use them? Ah. Shouldn't we be able to use Rauru then? Ah. Why do we need these sages? Princess Ruto didn't die. She didn't even say anything. She didn't even say, like, I'm gonna go fight this guy. So we think that Princess Ruto did this. She got frozen under the ice. Sheik came to save her. And then she gets killed right afterwards again. No, dude. Zelda's not dead. See? No, it can't be some ghost sages. Like, oh, we're the sages that are alive and you guys are ghost sages. But we still use our powers. Because then in Tears of the Kingdom, we could have did the same thing. Who cares if Ganon killed them? We're ghosts now. We're ghosts. Oh, shoot. Ganondorf killed us under the middle of Hyrule Field. We're dead. Hey, but we're ghosts now, so he can't kill us again, right? Let's use our sage powers one more time. See? No. We don't know. We don't know what happens. We don't know what they actually do. The water sage low tier snake dies in Twilight Princess. Ganon fucking walks up to him and uppercuts his mouth or her mouth. We don't even know. We just know they make them look the same. Who says they Cat Mello, we're gonna do this again? Because she go, I was awakened as a sage. Oh, here's another thing. In Wind Waker, there's an Earth Sage, right? Laruta. There's the, oh no, sorry. The Wind Sage, Laruta, and the Earth, no, sorry. Fado. Fado is the Wind Sage, and Laruta, so Fado is a Kokiri, alright? He gets killed. I don't care what Google says. Google is not Nintendo. Alright, listen. In the Wind Waker, there's two sages that are powering up the Master Sword. They're giving it its power. There's the Earth Sage, Fado? No, sorry. The Earth Sage Laruta. Fuck, I'm getting confused. Hold on. Why the fuck am I throwing it off? hold on. Let's go to it real quick. Give me un segundo, por favor. I'm gonna go to the scene. It's Fado. F-A-D-O. There's 2 Fados. Hold on. Let me see. Oh shit, I'm letting me click. Okay. So Laruta, the Zora girl who gets killed, is the Earth Sage. And then Ganon kills her. And Medley, like you waken Medley so that she can power up the Master Sword. And then the Wind Sage is Fado, and he's a Kokiri, but he gets killed by Ganon. And then Makar takes his place. Makar isn't dead. Makar is not dead. And the other girl was, Laruta wasn't dead, and neither was Fado. And then they're dead later on. And then there's also sages in A Link to the Past, and they weren't dead before they became sages. They were wise men. They weren't wise men. And then also now, if we go into this game, Tears of the Kingdom, when Rafika, Artie, Kia, and Agriston give their stones to their descendants, Riju, Yunobo, Sidon, and what's his fucking little bird face? Fuck. Tulin. They're not dead. They don't die. They're like, oh, we're going to become a sage. We're dead. They just have power. Their power awakens and they get stronger. See? In Ocarina of Time, Rauru says this. Look at what he says. Alright? Pay attention. Pay attention. Watch what he says, look. One of the ancient sages. Ancient sages. We ancient sages built the Temple of Time to protect the entrance to the sacred realm. Funny how we don't hear about any of this in Tears of the Kingdom, especially in Tears of the Kingdom's past. And look at the architecture of the Temple of Time. It looks a lot different than the architecture that the Zonai used, huh? Very weird, huh? No, but he can also be... This dude can also be, like the Sheikah monks. We don't know. We don't know what his ability is. This dude's been ancient, but he's existing. So, who knows? He might be fucking Omega powerful. But he's the one who sealed the Master Sword and all this shit. So it's like, what? See, he's in the Temple of Light. Maybe in Temple of Light, you don't age? Who knows? He's in the Temple of Time. The Temple of Light and the Temple of Time are connected. So maybe time's frozen. He never ages. That would be so cool, though. If you play the Temple of Light as Link in your dreams or some shit like that, and then when you beat the boss, that's when you wake up as an adult, and then you see Rauru, like you get the Light Temple, because the Light Temple was supposed to be a thing. No, low tier Snake. It's the Master Sword that keeps Link asleep, though. It's not the temple. It's the Master Sword that does that. It seals his spirit. That'd be funny. He's like, Link, don't be alarmed. Look at yourself. And he was naked with a bunch of pubes. All his body hair. What the fuck? The funny thing is, though, somebody went to Link and pierced his ears when he was sleeping. Yeah, like when he was asleep, somebody pierced his ears. Look at the Master Sword, which is a sacred blade which evil ones may never touch. You know when it says this, one worthy of the title of Hero of Time? I wonder if they got that name because of the prophecy, or because Link in Skyward Sword went to the past. Like, Link in Skyward Sword is sick when you think about it. He killed Demise using the Triforce, then he used Demise in a 1v1 using the Master Sword. He killed the dude twice with the most powerful like weapons in Zelda. He didn't have light arrows. He had straight up Master Sword and the Triforce. That's pretty sick when you think about it. And he beat him. He beat him in 2 time periods. So maybe, like, you know, he was also like a hero of time because he went back in time to kill him in the ancient past. So I don't know. Maybe that's where the title could come from. Let's go. See, his spirit was sealed here. Then later on, they're going to tell you the Master Sword did it. But hold on. Jay, there's nothing that says anything about the royal family, so we don't know. Look at his power. Evil power radiated from the temples of Hyrule, and in 7 short years transformed Hyrule into a world of monsters. Now look, he's saying he's fucking garbage now. My power has only little influence. So he pretty much can only use his power in the Chamber of Sages. He's saying, like, the power of the sages remains. When the power of all the sages is awakened, the sage's seal will contain the evil power in the void of the realm. I, Rara, am one of the sages, and your power to fight together with the sages makes you the hero of time. She goes, here's my secret stone. I mean, my cookie. My sage's cookie. See, I hope you can use these in, like, you were able to equip these to the Master Sword or to Link, like, spells in the original Ocarina of Time. And they were gonna, like, the fire medallion was gonna be used as with how, let me start over. The medallions had a purpose. This light medallion was going to be used to make your arrows like light arrows, or to shoot a beam from the Master Sword. The fire medallion was going to be used like Din's fire. I believe the water medallion was going to be like Neru's love, where it encapsulates you, where you can't get damaged for some time. And I'll show you some evidence of that right now, because I always thought this was weird. But watch, and if you look at the old screenshots of the Nintendo Power magazines and stuff, you can see these medallions were equipped to the C buttons back then. Some of them. Alright, now listen to what Sheik says, okay? Alright, this is way different. But where the Zonai are, where the sages back in Tears of Imprisonment were talking, I don't know if that was a sacred realm. I doubt it. But look, when evil rules all, an awakening voice from the sacred realm will call those destined to be sages who dwell in the 5 temples. So that means, boom, as soon as evil activates, all of a sudden, Saria and everybody have this whole thing in their head going, I got to go here. Some, like, kind of like in Tears of the Kingdom, when you're in the temples and you hear like a voice, it's calling to you. It's kind of like that, right? Right. One in the deep forest, one on the high mountain, one in a vast lake, one in the house of the dead, one inside the goddess of sand. Together with the hero of time, the awakened ones will bind the evil and return the light. Peace to the world. We don't know what the stage is. We don't know. There's no indication in the game. Hold on, let's go to Hyrule Historia. Let's see what makes a sage. Let's see if they have anything that makes a sage. Because then this is just speculatory and theory. This is just theory stuff. Hold on, let's move this over here, and then we're going to... Let's see. Anything that makes a sage. There's one thing Link could never have enough of, it was his friends. A wise old owl kept a close watch on him. That's Rauru. Joanna, leader of the Gorons, had almost fallen into despair before his meeting with Link, but as soon as he heard the notes of the lad's ocarina, he knew that there was a kindred spirit who would help his people, ridding them once and for all of the dreaded King Dodongo. Alright. Nothing about him being the sage yet, so let's see, like, when later on it picks up. I wonder if they're going to fix the Zoras up, too. I wonder if they're going to look like this, or if they're going to look, like, a lot better. No, see, that's a huge claim to say the sages are technically dead. Not once do they ever say, I was killed. Unless they said it in Wind Waker when they said, Ganon murdered me. They explicitly say it there. You think that this little fish girl got killed by Ganon? Even the sages in Wait, when Rauru gave the sages their stones in Tears of the Kingdom, he wasn't like, I gotta kill you guys. Then it just amplifies their power. What? Rauru, the architect of the Temple of Time, was the sage of the Temple of Light and protector of the doorway to the Sacred Realm. He charged Link with the mission returning the stolen Triforce and defeating the evil king. 7 years later, when Link opened his eyes, he leaned into his Laurel tells on the fact that his spirit was contained, blah, blah, blah. He's now a boy. Ganondorf had stolen a Triforce and become with the aid of Sheik. So, what you're saying is, the temple said, hey, I gotta awaken you. So what you're trying to say, Cat Mello, is, in Ocarina of Time, the voice that radiates from the Sacred Realm to the sages is like, come to these temples full of evil and die. Then the hero of time will save your spirit and you will become a sage. Come die. Durania, come here, die. Princess Ruto, come here, die. And the Buru wasn't called there. She was actually trying to rob the place. She wasn't called. She was there because she was going to rob it 7 years ago. And then, because she wanted the silver gauntlets. And then the witches got her. And turned her into an iron knuckle. And they didn't kill her. Wait, but what do you mean they give up their mortality? So then that would mean that the sages from Ocarina of Time are the same ones in the other games, which isn't true because the forest sage and all that stuff are different in Wind Waker. And then the sages in A Link to the Past are different. Let's see. After a long sleep, following his faithful meeting with Ganondorf in the Temple of Time, Link found himself in an altered world. Here it seemed that evil shadowed every corner. Link set out to face far greater peril than he could have ever imagined as he searched for the sages who held the key to rescuing the land. Okay. Race for the hook shot. Sacred Forest Medal. It was Sheik who first suggested that Link move on to seek the first sage in the Forest Temple. Navi insisted on reminding him as well. So Link, who was now the hero of time, set out for the Lost Woods and Sacred Forest Meadow. He wasn't surprised to find that even the forest had changed. Friends of Saria. Remember his first trip. League retraces steps soon. Junction. Mido. The cookie will go to pass. The one thing was found. Welcome, sorry, but it was not to be sorry. It was nowhere to be found. But in her place was a mysterious youth known as Sheik, the same boy who had appeared to Link when he returned to the Temple of Time from the Sacred Realm. Sheik told him that Saria was trapped somewhere. Trapped. So she might be dead. No, Saria was dead, and her body and her bones were in the forest temple. It's like, so when you save her, what does it say? It's just the graphics of the game. Like, they couldn't. I don't think they could have had Saria in the corner crying or something like that. In the final room of the forest temple, kind of like when you fight the Barnaid with Princess Ruto, you leave her outside. Like, I think it's just graphic limitations. No, what do you mean you're right? There's nothing that indicated she's dead. It says she's trapped in there because she went in, so we don't know she got out. The final room of the forest, the phantom Ganon galloped and a painting reached. Link set himself between two pictures and fired arrows at each of them. Like the Master Sword, blah, 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 repeated them over and over. Alright, Navi and Sistan are visiting the Gorons. He still had Saria in his mind. He still had Saria on his mind. Rescuing her from the forest temple was exciting enough for him, but discovering that his Kokiri friend was the sage of the forest was even a more shocking experience. So he rescued her. Not that tragically she died, but thankfully she was reborn. Now Saria's world was that of the sacred realm. Link began to miss her, and he wished for things to be as they were when had been in childhood, when he and Saria were the same age and in the same world. Determined to recapture his youth, Link returned to the Temple of Time. As he entered, Sheik intercepted. The mysterious man knew he had to find balance between the worlds, past, present, future, so Sheik revealed the secret time travel. No, what do you mean? So you're right. Okay. I rescued my friend from a burning building, and now they're sitting in the police station or at the hospital. Now they're sitting in the hospital. That's it. She's in the hospital now. She's in the Temple of Time or Temple of Light with Rauru. That's it. They just said he saved her, and now she's in the Temple of Light. She's chilling in the Chamber of the Sages. Remember, it's called Chamber of the Sages. She's chilling in the Chamber of the Sages. But there's nothing that says that. Where does it say her body is gone and she's a ghost? Look, here. Here, you guys. Look, let me show you another thing. Yeah. Let me show you something real quick about Ocarina of Time, okay? Look at this. Watch, I'm gonna show you something real fast. Link goes to race a ghost, okay? Look at this guy. He's a ghost. He's floating. He's dead. He's clearly dead, right? Halo and everything. Clearly dead, floating around. Right? Dead. Okay? Hold on. We're not done yet. These are the witches. Kume Kotake, right? Look, halos on their head, light, they're dead. They're dead. Dead, right? I'll come back to haunt you. I guess even bad guys can go to heaven in Hyrule. But who knows how that works, right? Dead. Look at the sages are flying to the top of Death Mountain. They're not in the chamber anymore. No halos. Not dead. They're here. I don't think they're dead. Unless you think they're dead, but they show you what dead people look like. I don't know if you want to still go on with that theory. I just think the proof is all right there. Dead things have halos, can float. They were rescued. They went to the Chamber of Sages. All right. Let's see if we can still find something, though, that can help. Let's see if Durania says anything about he died. Alright, the Gorons were Link's friend. Link finally remembered their stoic leader, Durania, who loved dancing. Blah, 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 blah. According to legend, the ancient lore, the dragon of Volvagia. Or Volvagia. I call him I used to call him Volvagia. I don't know why the Gia. But Volvagia, I think Volvagia sounds better though. Volvagia. Like giant. Like Volvagia. Volvagia. It could be Volvagia. I don't know. Once terrorized and gorged on Gorons until one fed-up Goron fought back. Armed with the divine hammer that was almost heavy enough to move mountains, the Goron pounded Volvagia until the dragon could eat no more. Ooh. He pounded him? When Link found Durania inside the temple, both were relieved to see that the other was safe. Durania ventured off to trap Volvagia and left Link in charge of releasing the imprisoned Gorons. After Link tripped a switch to free a nearby Goron, he entered the cell and found the key inside. So I guess he went in there to trap him. Didn't say he went in there to fight him. I don't know. The showdown between Link and Volvagia took place on a slab of floating pool. The island was punctured with several holes that the serpent peeked its head out of them. The last shot, armed with the hammer, Link swung until the dragon slithered and right in the air. Dead. Again, doesn't say really much. After rescuing the Gorons, Link grew fearful that Ganondorf may have targeted more of his old friends, entering Zora's domain to check on King Zora. What's up, Nigel? Bressa, are you still here? Following her lead, Link sank to the water. Ruto greeted him. Ruto greeted him. Those are the bike. Change. Okay. After Link secured the water temple, Ruto awakened as a sage and was forced to break their engagement. Relieved to be let off the fish woman's hook, Link left and headed down Lake Hylia Bridge. None of them say she's dead. Or they die, or they transcend. They awaken. They awaken as a sage. Now, this is what I wanted to show you. Right here, when you're going into the, oh my gosh, so she died. Oh. Why? Where do you get that she died? I just need to know. Let me see. That would mean that like Tolan and all them had to die too. They just get awakened. What does it mean to me? They gain powers. Just like they showed in Tears of the Kingdom. Or just like they showed in Wind Waker. Ooh, it's storming in game. Hold on, let me see. Let's see if this says anything about it. Let's go encyclopedia real quick. What the? What the fuck? Nobody is fucking. Hell, I got a pop up on a pop up about ads. Want me to get ad blocker? Tell me to do it again. See what happens. Fucking trying to advertise in my face. That they awaken as sages? Just like Makar and Medley did. I'm going to show you right now, though. Hold on. I'm sure they have this stuff. I remember them talking about the sages on here. Your spirits, fairies, sacred realm of sages. When the goddess descended and gave life to the world, they left the Triforce behind, and where it came to rest became known as the Sacred Realm. Those who guarded the Sacred Realm with the royal family are called sages. The mysterious power of the early Hylians has largely been lost as eras have passed, but the sages and their descendants still possess this sacred power. Each time the world falls into certain crisis, a new group of chosen sages awaken to combat evil. The location, I don't see him saying dies and have to be reborn, but here we go. They awaken. Just like Link, he was chilling, he was asleep, and he had awakened to become the hero. The location of the Sacred Realm had been a mystery, but when it was discovered, war broke out. The ancient sage Rauru placed the Triforce of the Sacred Realm in the Temple of Light and constructed the Temple of Time, page 26, on the other side to conceal its entrance. The key joined the Temple of Light to the Temple of Time was the Blade of Evil's Bane, the Master Sword. The towering door of time at the heart of the Temple of Time was erected to prevent anyone but a chosen hero from approaching the Master's pedestal. The door was sealed. When young Link opened the door, the Master again and was right behind him. The Gerudo thief invaded the Sacred Realm and used the power of the Triforce of Power to become the King of Evil. Link took time. Yeah, she can't live with them because she's in the Chamber of the Sages. She has a duty now. She's an Avenger. I seen it. I know that. Which they're not dead. They just can't live in the same world. She's busy. Look. She lives in the Sacred Realm. She moved away to another country. That's it. She's in another realm. She's in the Sacred Realm. Going in the Sacred Realm doesn't mean you're this. Okay. Why would you awaken as a sage? Transform you? When grabbing a divine relic as a Triforce makes you physical. Ganon has a Triforce multiple times, got killed when he had it. So you mean a sage is greater than a Triforce? Like what? I'm getting a divine relic, but I'm gonna stay a regular human. Oh, I awoken as a sage. I'm a ghost, an eternal ghost with power. What? No. No, look at the sages right here. They say, look. The mysterious power of the early Hylians has largely been lost in the eras, but the sages and their descendants still possess this sacred power. So does that mean as soon as Ganon touched the Triforce, he died? Became a divine being? No, dude. No, I know. But I'm just saying, like, that. There's theories I see online. Are the sages dead and stuff like that? And, like, they've never indicated To transcend, to awaken means you must have died. When young Link opened the door and drew the Master Sword, Ganon was right behind him. Okay. To become Link, the hero of time was thrust forward in time to awaken the sages, and together with their leader Zelda, seal Ganon away. In the timeline where Link of time failed, wild demons poured out of the sacred realm, which should return to the Dark World by Ganon's evil heart. The 7 sages of that era sealed the realm in a ferocious battle known as the Imprisoning War. The clan of knights tasked with guarding the sages nearly wiped out in the process. No matter the timeline, Hyrule sages and their descendants are fated to be targeted by Ganon and the forces of evil. I'm not seeing where they have to leave their physical body behind, though. There's not once where they said the 6 sages, each represented by different Hylian. Zelda sage, 7 sages are leader. First, it was Zelda said that she was the Sage of Time. Now it's the sages are dead. There's the Twilight Princess sages, the Spirit Tracks ones, the Link Between World ones, the Wind Waker ones, the Four Swords of Adventure ones. The only time that I see a sage die is Water Sage getting killed in Twilight Princess and the 2 that were murdered in Wind Waker. That's the only time I hear them die. Look, here's the 7 sages and their symbols. Look, they don't have a time one. This is the one I was talking about in what is it called? In Skyward Sword. In eras when the 7 sages awake to fight evil, there are also eras when within the 7 sages there are 6 sages associated with particular symbols, and Zelda is the 7th sage and their leader. The symbols that are the crest of the 6 sages of the 7 sages in that era of the hero of time can be seen in the most ancient of times, adorning the Temple of Hylia in the era of Skyward Sword. Information about those symbols has been lost to time, but in the era of the hero of time, there is a legend passed down among the Sheikah that states, when evil rules all, an awakening voice in the sacred realm will call those destined to be sages. Together with the hero of time, the awakened ones will bind the evil and return light of peace to the world. As foretold during the events occurring at the time, the 7 sages, including Zelda, awakened, sealing Ganon away, fulfilling their duty to bind evil. Each of the sages, Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, with the exception of Princess Zelda, their leader, is associated with a crest that shows their particular element: forest, fire, water, spirit, shadow, or light. The 7 sages have awoken in Hyrule's darkest times in multiple timelines, including the Imprisoning War. Those sages passed the... Oh yeah, dude! And if they passed... Those sages passed the secret of the Sacred Realm and the Triforce on to their descendants, who were not sages themselves, but carried the blood of the sages. So tell me who the fuck Saria fucked if she was a ghost and she gave up her physical body. Tell me who Rauru fucked or Princess Rudel fucked. Tell me who they had sex with to pass on their blood. This is official right here. Those sages passed the secret of the Sacred Realm and the Triforce on to their descendants, who were not sages themselves, but carried the blood of sages, and were therefore the key to breaking the ancient seal on the Sacred Realm, corrupted by Ganon's heart, into the Dark World. Yeah, so... who did Impa fuck? The Sage of Light who became an owl. Owls are a symbol of wisdom, protectors of knowledge. Perhaps this is why the ancient sage Rauru chose to appear to Link as the owl-like bird Kepora Gabora. He knew that Link would have to do to stop Ganon. By the time the ancient sage Rauru constructed the second second? Oh yeah, because the first Temple of Time was the one in the desert. By the time the ancient sage Rauru constructed the second temple of time in the era of chaos to seal the sacred realm and the Triforce within, the event Skyward Sword had faded into legend. It was said the Master Sword had been used by a hero who traveled between two times, and there was a temple called the Temple of Time. Borrowing the name of legend, Rauru constructed the new Temple of Time on the ruins of the sealed temple, and made the Master Sword a key for passage into the sacred realm. Since only someone worthy could pull the sword from the pedestal, it would keep those unworthy of the Triforce from entering the sacred realm. Rauru then secluded himself in the sacred realm in the Chamber of Sages along with the Triforce. The Sheikah inherited the secret of the realm and Master Sword, while Rauru's name was all but forgotten, except when he got renamed and became the first king of Hyrule. And then, yep, he married a Hylian and they had goat humans for kids. Psych! A great length of time passed before the Triforce was targeted by Ganondorf. A young boy from Kokiri Forest, Link, emerged, another hero able to travel between two times, and he was destined to become the hero of time. Although the events of Skyward Sword took place long before Rauru existed, the legacy of those events and of the hero who first wielded the Master Sword and set the events that took place in Ocarina of Time in motion. The legend of the hero of time was told and celebrated by the people for ages to come, and the name of Rauru, the Sage of Light, along with it. Yeah, this is the first Temple of Time right here. You can see it in the map. Back in the day. Low tier snake, we do not. We do not. See, now this Temple of Time is weird because when you activate it, you go into the Temple of Time that doesn't exist. But it leads, like, I don't know, to a weird Temple of Time. In Twilight Princess, a dense forest prevents access to the ruined Temple of Time. But in the remains of the temple, the Master Sword still sleeps. Link journeys to the sacred grove that was placed in place of the decayed temple. Using the Master Sword as a key, the descendant of the Hero of Time is able to walk into the past, where the temple still stands in all its grandeur and contains the technology of the Uka. Additionally, the crest of the Sage of Light is everywhere. The key. So it's like, are you really in the Temple of Light or the Temple of Time? Even though it says the Temple of Time. The pedestal. Master Sword is traditionally placed with its blade in the gray stone on top of a fine pedestal. In A Link to the Past, the game that established the tradition, Link found the pedestal in a grove deep within the forest. And Wind Waker is inside the austere temple-like boughs of Hyrule Castle. A Link to the Past, Sacred Grove within Lost Woods. A Link Between Worlds, Sacred Grove, Lost Woods, Wind Waker, deep within Hyrule Castle. Other lands and realms beyond Hyrule. Lower row, it just says the Kingdom of Hyrule, and then it's just inverse. If they're white, they're parallel. Dark World, parallel. Twilight Realm, parallel to the Light Realm. Holodrum, Leverna, Coalint, Termina, they're all parallel worlds. The kingdom is black. Hytopia, the Kingdom of Hyrule, Sacred Realm, the sky, the open sea. Dark World, ruins of the Sacred Realm. Twilight Realm, where the ancient Twilight dwell. The origin of the Twilight Realm and the Twilight. The origin of the Twilight Realm dates back to an ancient battle between Hylians over the Triforce of the Sacred Realm. The Twilight were once people of Hyrule with powerful magical abilities. Using this magic, they attempted to take control of the Triforce. See, also too, people used to think that Rauru and them were gods because of their magical abilities. But back then, it seems like the Hylians had a crazy amount of magic too. So that's why I don't think the Hylians in Age of Imprisonment are new Hylians. I think that shit's like been so long that their magic has faded and dwindled. It's over, dude. It's over for them in there. Like, they don't have magical powers. Not even like the Sheikah. They have technology now. Nobody has like magic in these new one. In these new games. Not even Link uses magic. Oh, remember I wanted to show you that one thing about Link? Hold on, give me a second. I'll pause the sharing a new game. Nah, Cairo, Nintendo does care. Like, they really do care. But I shared this with you guys the other day. Let me show you something about A Link to the Past. And this is Ocarina of Time, the 5th game. Okay, the 5th game. Nintendo acts like they're archaeologists, and they're trying to figure out Zelda like we are. So listen to how they write this one. Look, listen to how they write it. Contents. This is back in 1998. Herein lies the full account of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In this volume, you will find a comprehensive retelling of the tale and an in-depth guide through Link's entire adventure. It contains detailed maps of every place he visited, descriptions of how he found every item and weapon in this amazing inventory, right? This is like Nintendo's thing, okay? Then right here, The Legend of Zelda, look. Legends of Zelda. Much of Hylian lore has faded with the passing of years, but one story that still shines bright is The Legend of Zelda. This is no simple tale, but an incredible tapestry woven of many years and many wondrous adventures. Remember they just said tapestry, and Ocarina of Time is on what? What do you see it on the new trailer? A tapestry, too, right? Look, let's continue. One odd thing about the legend is that it doesn't seem to have been written in chronological order, and scholars still disagree about which events came first. We will therefore recount the legend as it was set down in the ancient scrolls and let you decide for yourself. Hear now the saga of the Legend of Zelda, or Link and Zelda, the greatest heroes Hyrule has ever known. They treat it as like, oh, we just found out this new fucking piece of information. I think it goes here. I think it goes there. Now look at, this is the newest one, look. The Legend of the Ocarina of Time. Much about the lives of Link and Zelda remains a mystery, but a new chapter in The Legend of Zelda was recently unearthed in a remote corner of the Hyrule Castle archives. It sheds light on Link's boyhood and on the origins of the thief who would become the greatest sorcerer in Hyrule's history. That's the thing it's always been. That's why I, Louis, have always been fascinated by Zelda, because it's cool. It's like, oh, this game takes place. No, this one does. Actually, no, wait, this one. You gotta piece it together. Some people don't like it, which is fine. Some people like me do. But to me now, I'm tired of it, and I hope it goes back to just one timeline now. This right here, look. Link always seemed destined to be a hero. Even as a boy, his fate was bound to the fate of the Triforce. It was as if time itself had chosen him to be a champion. And now is this better shown than in the last... Nowhere is this better shown than in this last chronicle. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, newly discovered by Hylian scholars, this tale stretches from Link's boyhood to his early manhood. Some scholars suggested that this is, indeed, an account of Link's very first adventure. Others believe that the Link and Zelda in this story may not be the same ones in the previous chronicles, and that they are perhaps ancestors of that famous pair. While these questions may never be settled, we do know that this Link and Zelda display the same courage and nobility as the others who have borne those honored names. Do you see? So it's like, even quote-unquote Nintendo can't agree. This is from Ocarina of Time. Now I'll show you A Link to the Past. You get it, Low Tier Snake? That's how I feel it should. That's how I feel like it makes it so much more interesting. I like it, dude. I love the Zelda because of this. They're going over Zelda 2 and stuff. Now look at, they're talking about The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Back in the midst of time before the era of The Legend of Zelda and the Adventure of Link, Hyrule was a land of fabulous palaces and magic. It was also a troubled land, and the divisions of light and dark were tearing it apart. The origin of this conflict lay deeper in the shadows of time, with the coming of the Triforce and the greed of Ganondorf, King of Thieves. And see, they talk about the imprisoning war in a period known as the Imprisoning War. It has nothing to do with Raru and Sonya and those sages. It has to do with stealing the Sacred Realm. Dude, Shield Retro, I have all these guides, books, and everything, and the instruction manuals ever since I was a kid. Like, I still have them. See, this is the Golden Land. Then they renamed it to the Sacred Realm. I guess you can even say that's the Temple of Light right there. No, Tears of the Kingdom story just needs to be clarified. But like all Zeldas, we don't know. Like a broad bridge spanned in the river, Hyrule Castle led to the main. See, and Hyrule's in the middle. But they're trying to tell me that Raru, the first king, has Ganon stuffed in the basement in this castle. Like, stop it, dude. Stop. And in this world, if I looked up, if I could see through the cloud barrier, I could see Zelda flying. Stop. No, she's not here. She doesn't exist here. Well, that Zelda doesn't exist. And look, this book right here, it is a link to the past. The Book of Madura. As generations followed generation, the Hylian language changed along with society, and the stone tablets inscribed by earlier generations of Hylians in their ancient tongue became unreadable for modern Hyruleans. Some Hylian descendants consulted the Book of Madura in the House of Books to translate the messages they found. So you mean to tell me that Zelda, and the Gorons, the Gerudo, and all of them in the past, in Tears of the Kingdom's past, when Zelda went back to the ancient past, all spoke the same language and dialect? They didn't have problems. They were like, what does that word mean? Huh? You don't speak the same Hylian as I do. It's like, no, dude, no. They even had a book for the past ones. No, you're lying, dude. Ancient YouTuber. I think they remade it, the Sword and Shield, because they want the Sword and Shield to remain consistent. Like, I think the Sword and Shield's supposed to look that way, because they want the Master Sword to look a definitive way, and that's it. It's like, look what the Master Sword used to look like in A Link to the Past. It was silver. It looks cool, though. I think it looks cool in this color. But look at and I love red. Look at the hilt is red. And it looked like this right here, the top one. That's the original Master Sword. It's right there in the top. This is the red shield, not the Hylian shield. This is this is the first Master Sword. What's up, Golden Reborn? Look at it right here. It has a gold hilt. Look, this is the cover. Look how it looks in the cover, the Master Sword. It was like a yellow or gold, you could say, wrapped with brown. And then it gets fixed up or tempered, and it gets orange and purple. What, Christopher? And Jaime, I know what you mean. I honestly would love like a red Master Sword, dude. Like, not the blade, but like the hilt and stuff. Like, I don't know. I'm biased because red's my favorite color, but I don't think they can pull it off. Look at how Link's sword looks right here in like this new art. They make it look like a Master Sword, but it wasn't. Even as the Triforce right here. This is the first Zelda. How dare you, Christopher? This is Zelda 1. And this Link is only 10 years old, but he looks like an adult. Look, again, it looks like he's carrying the Master Sword. This is when he saves Zelda. Then in Zelda 2, Link is 16 years old right here. Look at him carrying the sword with his big ass hands, dude. Gamer Tales, I hope you've lived a great life. This is the imprisoning war right here. This is the beginning of A Link to the Past. I know Link is young in this one. He really is. In Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. Zelda 2, he's 16. And Zelda 1, he's 10. And it happened 6 years later. I know, Kyra. I know localization could change. Only if you cry, Cat Mello. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Afterwards, I'm working on a couple things, so we'll see. We will see. Hold on. Yeah, somebody said, imagine if they switch Raru. As other YouTuber Rev I've been talking to kind of a little bit about Zelda. I was in a call with him like not too long ago. Like sometime last week and a half ago. He posted a tweet right now that said, imagine if like if they show Raru as like a goat instead of like a human. And he's I wonder how the let me see, I'll try to find it. What he said. I replied to him earlier to a tweet. Yeah, he posted where's it at? I just saw it on my timeline. Oh, I found it. Actually, I can share it. My bad. I'm getting used to sharing my screen and stuff. Let me see if this works. Yeah, right here. See, like this one right here. Imagine the internet if this happens. Dude, that would break so much stuff. Because Raru didn't say, in Tears of the Kingdom, he didn't say he made the Temple of Time or he sealed the Sacred Realm. He would know about the Master Sword. It'd be so much to explain. It would just break everything. That wouldn't make sense. They'd have way more explaining to do. Like we have like so many things to retcon, so it's like I said, I hope that doesn't happen. To me, like I said, the old games, the old timeline happens in the past. Like the far distant past. And then everything mended together at one point into one singular timeline again, so that the goddesses could just, I don't know, like I said, you can make up any story. But I feel like it works better that way, one, for Nintendo. So now they can focus on a new era of games on a timeline. So they don't have to go in constraints of, when does this take place? When does this one take place? Like, who cares? Now they can just make sequels and continue. And they can still be legends. And yeah, they can have prequels on this new timeline. And if they want, they can call like the other games like The Legend of Zelda. Like, fucking Wind Waker 6. You know what I mean? And then we know that's in the adult timeline, or maybe they can name them adult timeline, or I don't know. But I just want I want the old timeline to just not fade, but to really become a legend in and of itself. And then we move forward with the ancient Zonais, the constructs that annihilated them, the war in the Age of Imprisonment. Then it leads to like the Calamity Ganon in Breath of the Wild, and then it leads to the end of Tears of the Kingdom. And then from there we just keep moving forward or backwards on that same timeline. Maybe we can. It would be cool. Look, apparently, I hate to say this, because I, for one, didn't believe the rumors about the Ocarina of Time. Even though that guy had spoiled stuff in the past, I was hoping he was just wrong this time. There have been rumors that there's going to be another Zelda game that takes place again. There's a rumor going around that it's gonna take place in the Tears of the Kingdom land, but it's gonna be different time zones and dimensions. So does that mean it's gonna be in the past, in the future? Is it gonna be pocket sections? I was hoping in Age of Imprisonment, or even, I'm sorry, in this game right here, Tears of the Kingdom, the latest one, I was hoping that you would be able to see like an area where, like, you kind of place the Master Sword down, and ching, it opens up like a area, like it goes back in time, so you can go to Hyrule Castle Town and see some shit like back in the day. I do know who's making the remake. It's the people who make Monolith, the people who make the Xenogears game. What up, Chroma? Root vegetable, don't say that. The Zonai don't bother me. Again, it just makes sense that they come way later. I've never played any of the Xeno games, so I wouldn't know. Wella Zam. Say you hate us. Say it. Officially, the Kokiri are born from Hylians that left. The Kokiri were like, kind of like, we don't want to live in this fucking, with this city hustle and bustle and castles. We want to be more in tune with nature. So they left to go to the forest. And then the Deku Tree changed them into ageless looking kids, where they where that's how they live. And then in Wind Waker, when everything flooded, the Deku Tree changed them into Koroks. They were Hylians. They were legit Hylians. Let me see it. Well, I know in the encyclopedia they kind of talk about it, and the let me see if I can find them. No, I don't think it'd be the same Rauru. Because he never mentioned anything about, like, Sacred Realm and all that stuff. He would have known about the imprisoning war. Are you going to tell me again? Something else? Alright, you know what? I'm doing fucking great. I'm doing great, Jan. Watch. I'm going to show you that the Kokiri, or Kokiri, sorry. Where they at? Watch. The Kokiri. Fairy people of the forest. Deep within Kokiri Forest live a people protected by the great Deku Tree. It is said that the Kokiri never age, maintaining their childlike forms eternally. They all wear the same green outfit and become a true Kokiri when paired with a fairy. The Kokiri maintain almost no contact with the peoples of Hyrule, though they are known among Hylians who often refer to them as forest fairies. In truth, the Kokiri are also Hylians! They trace their roots back to a time when the Hylians were first developing their civilization, building cities, and relying on a less natural way of life. The Kokiri decided to distance themselves from the Hylians, exiling themselves to the forest to make their own way of life closer to nature. The Kokiri are often told that they will die if they leave the forest, but that is because they will age in places the Deku Tree's power does not reach. After the Sage of Forest revives and the child of the Deku Tree is born, they become able to adventure outside the forest they had been confined to for so long. In the later era, Kokiri also serve alongside the king as a sage of wind, offering prayers to the goddesses. I told you. X-Tone, I don't think they made Majora's Mask. I think it was a group way like earlier. Like, I think there was just many groups back in the day that just fucking worked with the like there's just people who try to establish like dominion over the Twilight Realm or the Sacred Realm and got banished to the Twilight. There was just a lot of people who knew magic back then. Maybe they were like fucking mingling with demons. Maybe Girahim escaped, taught people some shit. Who knows? But the Kokiri turn into the Koroks. Look, the Koroks are spirits of the forest. In the Wind Waker, they are led by the great Deku Tree of Forest Haven. Koroks are made of light wood and make a jingling sound when they walk. Once a year, they gather in front of their home in Forest Haven and hold a ceremony to obtain seeds from the great Deku Tree, which they use to grow forests on islands all over. The roots of these strange forest dwellers lie in the Kokiri from Ocarina of Time. When old Hyrule was submerged, it is said that the Kokiri evolved, gaining the ability to fly above the waves to different islands. Here you go. Now check this out. Minish, saviors from the sky. Sounds like the fucking Zonai, right? Sounds like the Zonai. The Minish, whom the Hylians refer to as Picori, are a tiny race of beings about the size of a thumb. So they're not even huge. Does Rauru look like he's the size of a thumb? It is said that long ago they descended from the sky and granted a golden light, or light force, and a single blade to a hero. Once every 100 years do the Minish visit, and only children can see them. I don't know. Seems like a lot of people could see them in fucking... If they're the Zonai, that's a whole different thing. Right? In the Minish Cap, there's a village of Minish in the Minish Woods. Its very existence is a secret to all but those with close ties to the royal family. The Minish use different words than Hylians, a language slightly different from that of the original Minish of legend. They live in towns and like peering in on Hylian lives and culture, sometimes even lending a hand in secret. What? What? No fucking way. What? Here, let's also do something. Let's also do something crazy, alright? This is page 53. I'm gonna show you guys something though. Jan, you still here, Jan? Check this out. Do you need help? Burp! Too busy, I see. Oh, look at here, sages again. Sages again. We'll see the sages in a little bit. The Picori and the Light Force. What do we know? What do we know about Tears of the Kingdom? That the world, the most devastating thing in the kingdom, when the kingdom was formed, after Rauru already established the kingdom, right? In Tears of the Kingdom, he already established it. He had his queen, Sonya, right? And the first major thing that's said on there that had happened was Ganon tried to fucking rule them, right? And then it was the Secret Stones and the Imprisoning War, right? Well, check this out. The Hero of Men. In the first major event to happen since the Kingdom of Hyrule was established. Oh, I thought Ganondorf was there, trying to attack Rauru and his castle in the Great Plateau with Malduga. And then it led to like the Imprisoning War and the death of Sonya. And then the death of the first king. Weird, but I guess not. In the first major event since the Kingdom of Hyrule was established, the world was engulfed by beings and shrouded in darkness. It was then that a tiny Picori descended from the sky, bringing a golden light and a sword. Using the sword, the hero of men sealed evil beings away in the bound chests and brought peace to the world once again. The golden light was the light force. That can be argued that was Rauru's power, okay? We'll give him that. We'll give him that. But where's that sword? Where's the Picori sword? And where's the bound chest? Weird. It doesn't show Rauru holding a sword. And then it doesn't show that little triangle right here, the light force with them. The royal family of Picori. After sealing away the evil beings, the royal family of Hyrule became the careful overseers of the sword, which became known as the Picori blade. Furthermore, the royal family kept the existence of the land of the Picori, the Minish realm, hidden. In gratitude to the Picori, the people held the Picori festival once a year. What? What, dude? Like, ¿qué pasó? How did this happen? I thought Rauru was the first king, and the first major event was the Imprisoning War, the death of the queen, the death of the king, the end of the Zonai as we saw, floating skies and depths and what? This has nothing to do with that shit. Lies. The game full of lies. Psych. Alright, just for your sake, I will show you the sages again real fast. Let me show you the sages real quick. Here, sages. The 6 sages are restored. Hold on, let me look at the medallion thing right here that they show. Real quick. Because they talk about the sages a little bit right here. Right here. Dark clouds begin to enshroud Hyrule. Rauru, the sage who created the Temple of Time in eras long past, before Link drew the Master Sword. Rauru took on the form of an unusual bird named Kepora Gabora. That sounds like Zelda's dad's name in Skyward Sword. If you guys didn't know that. Watching over the boy as he progresses his adventure. And look at this. Hylian in this era. Dude, if they had fucking different like spellings and all that shit. I'm not gonna speak. Oh, you mean the old Ocarina of Time? I was gonna say the new one? No. An indestructible shield decorated with the same design that was favored in the era of the goddess Hylia. It is strong enough to withstand fire and cannot be broken. The Sage's medallions. Medallions imbued with the power of the awakened sages. With each medallion he obtains, the hero of time attains even greater power. What, John? What, Link? The actions of the hero of time. Receiving medallions from awakened sages, he gradually added the power to their own. The sages are restored. Rauru was the sage of light, who had continued his vigil over the sacred realm since time immemorial. Sara the Kokiri tribe was the sage of the forest. Darnia was the Goron of the Goron tribe was the sage of fire. Prince Ruda of the Zora tribe was the sage of water. Impa, Zelda's attendant, was the sage of shadow. Naburu, the chivalrous thief, was the sage of spirit. At last, all 6 sages have been restored. The Kokiri, who really understands Link, this is Saria, She sees the truth, realizing that he is not a member of the Kokiri tribe. Saria used to sit in the depths of the forest playing her ocarina. Her special spot was actually the entrance to the forest temple. Dude, ancient YouTuber, I feel something like is missing too, as well. Like something along those lines. See, and look, the imprisoning war, again, we've been through this before. It's not about all that stuff we saw. It's about like trying to get into the sacred realm to get the Triforce, and they sealed it. They imprisoned Ganon in there again. Well, he's not a king, Clarence. He's the headmaster of the school of the Knights Academy. Zelda's father. He does look like an owl, though. Watch. Him right here, look. Gabora. During the ancient battle, the humans had no choice but to flee the surface to survive on Skyloft. They developed a militia and slowly built up their strength. Gabora, the keeper of the legends that had been passed down through his family, built the Knight Academy. Gabora brought kendo training and loft-wing riding together and established the Order of the Knights. See, he looks like an owl. But he also kind of looks like Raru's build, right? John, they did. They changed Golden Land to Sacred Realm, and they changed 7 Wise Men to 7 Sages. That's what they changed. And then they added the Palace of the Four Sword in there. What up, Muay Thai? I would look when they were showing trailers and things for Skyward Sword. I really thought this was the first enemy ever. Girahim. I thought he was gonna be the enemy. There's a huge for those of you who don't know. I'm gonna spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear, I give you like 5 seconds. All right, to get the fuck out of here. But as Link has this, I'm sure that this is Fi. I pronounce her name Fi, but I'm sure it's Fi. And the reason why I'm so sure that it's Fi, because Zelda incorporates music like Ocarina of Time, the Wind Waker baton. It's just all about music. Even the cadence of Hyrule, even though it's not a part of it, but it's like it has to do with music, right? Sheik's harp, or the goddess's harp, the Ocarina of Time. Never already said that one, right? But that's like a note. Fi, fi, fo, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and fi, fi. I'm pretty sure it's fi because of that. But I do say fi. But it's cool because this dude later on in the game says he's trying to revive his master, and then you find out. See that red gem he has right there? Just like she has that blue gem. It's kind of like she ends up being. He's the spirit of Demise's sword, trying to revive his master. So it's like how she found her master. He's looking for his, or trying to revive his, and then you find out that the real enemy, the evil, is Demise right here, him. And that's what he really looks like. And I'm like, oh, that's sick! Oh my gosh. To me, it was a cool twist because I didn't know about it. Now look at the Seal of the Sacred Realm. Right here, this dude, this Raru sealed it. And look how he's dressed. There's no way you can fucking confuse the Rarus. They can't change it, dude. It would make no sense. And the Temple of Time looks like this. And it's right by Death Mountain. Well, this is a small world, but it's in the middle of Hyrule. Where like the kingdom's at in the other in Tears of the Kingdom. Alright, but remember I was telling you about the medallions, right? I hope they incorporate the medallions in the remake. And the reason why, here, I'll show you. Let me find it on where is it at? Hold on, let me find it real quick on YouTube. Where is it at? Because they took it out of the original, but it's when you go into the Shadow Temple. Hold up. Okay, here we go. You guys ready? Watch this, look. Where do I turn it down? Here we go. Do you see it right there? That's the fire medallion. That's the symbol for the fire medallion if you look at it right there, look. You see it real close. That's the fire medallion. Here, let me show you in the guide so you can see for yourself what you're looking at. I guess I could have showed you in the encyclopedia too, with the symbols of the sages. We'll do both. We'll do both. I'll pull up the guide, Ocarina of Time guide, and the see if it shows the medallion. Alright, fuck. This one's not showing it. So encyclopedia it is then. Okay. I don't know what the fuck this is. What the fuck is this? Oh, it's a pop-up. I clicked on a link. That's funny. A link. Right here, look. See this fire medallion? Look. It looks like the Mario fireball that jumps up and down with the eyes from the lava. See it right here? It's fire medallion. Tell me if you can notice it on the Ocarina of Time thingy right here. Look. You see it right here? It's like a slight detail they overlooked. And you use Din's fire for this, look. You see, you use Din's fire. And the medallions were going to give you abilities. And that they took them out. I don't know why. Like, I was hoping that they kept them in, but yeah, so he's standing right there on the fire medallion symbol to show you to use the fire medallion. And the fire medallion was going to act as Din's fire. So I hope in this remake, you can use the actual medallions. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? What the fuck, Cairo, are you talking about? I guess that's it. I think that's it. I'm gonna go work on my video now. Alright, alright. Yeah, dude, they're not fucking Zonai lovers. Yeah, I'm gonna dip out because I'm working on my video right now. Like, I'm talking about what I want out of Ocarina of Time, my thoughts and opinions on it, and what I hope to see and what I don't hope to see. Like, I'm cool for some subtle throwbacks. Like I said, if you're in the Gerudo Desert and you notice the Arbiter grounds from Twilight Princess, because you have to remember this: Here's the thing I want to say most about the game, right? Ocarina of Time was the 5th Zelda game ever made, but it's not 5th in the placement of the timeline. Before Ocarina of Time, there was Skyward Sword, Minish Cap, and Four Swords. Then it goes Ocarina of Time. After Ocarina of Time, there's Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and then A Link to the Past, and then the Oracle games, or Link's Awakening. Right? They mixed them up on that one. So, based on that, when you're playing this new Ocarina of Time, there are times that you can allude to, like I said, if you go to the mask shop, it would be cool if you see the masked salesman going like, say he's like in the very beginning, like it's a cutscene when Link meets him, and you can see him closing a chest or something when you see Majora's Mask in there, and he just closes it, and he turns around and he's like, hey, welcome to the shop, blah, 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 right? And you're like, oh shit, that's cool, because, like, you know, we know he does have Majora's Mask. And let's just say when we're running through the Lost Woods, we can see one of the Skull Kids acting suspicious. Or maybe we see a Skull Kid that has Tattle and Tail, like the two fairies. And we're like, that's the Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. Or like some subtle shit like that. Maybe some of the Skull Kids say, there's one Skull Kid who doesn't have any friends, and he's just bullying people or stealing from travelers. You get what I'm saying? That stuff, I don't mind seeing stuff or some callback or something that alludes to that. What I would hate to see is shit thrown in my face, or like them telling me about, like, you know, or them mentioning stuff like about like the Zonai in Rauru, and the fucking like, hi, I'm Rauru, Sage of the Light Temple, named for the future Zonai King, because he hasn't been established yet. Or, you know, or I spoke to the Zonai earlier. You know what I'm saying? I hope he doesn't do anything like that, or I hope you don't see a sky dragon flying in the air, like the light dragon, like you see Zelda in the air with the Master Sword, charging it up for the future. That's what I don't want to see. But if I see stuff, I want to see what I'm saying, like things that hint to like the other games, because those games didn't exist, but now they have something that leads to them. Like maybe you can, in Skyward Sword, like when you buy the Hylian shield, or however you get the Hylian shield this time, because back in the day, it wasn't that special. In Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, the Hylian shield's more special. In Skyward Sword, it was given to you by a dragon. The first Hylian shield was given to you by a dragon. So I feel like, how are they going to do it this time now? In Ocarina of Time, you can find it in the graveyard, you can find it in the Kakariko graveyard, or you could find it, or you can buy it from the store, like nothing. So it's like, is it going to be special this time? Are they going to, like, I hope it is. I hope it's the same one that Link gets. But what I'm really, really excited about is the Mirror Shield. I fucking love the Mirror Shield from Ocarina of Time. Before they changed it, because remember it had it had the moon and the star, but I don't know if it was Islamic or a country. I forget exactly, but I like that one. That one was sick. Obviously, it's not gonna be that one. It's not gonna have the moon anymore. It's gonna have the Gerudo symbol that looks like a Majora's Mask kind of face. But I can't wait for that one. But dude, imagine if like they announced that Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are gonna be one full game or something like that. Like that's like a big thing. Like it's not just Ocarina of Time. They connect Majora's Mask to it. It's like a part 1 and a part 2. That would be sick. That would be crazy sick. But I don't, like I said, I don't want them to just fucking start throwing shit out, like some Zonai stuff in there. I want them to stay focused on Ocarina of Time story. Yes, they can have a little bit of throwbacks, like maybe another Tingle doll or something like they had in Skyward Sword. Or maybe when you're in the Gerudo Desert, you can see the ruins of the old Temple of Time there. Right? Or you could see the Arbiter Grounds, like I said. But I don't want to see stuff from the new Zeldas, like the Breath of the Wild era. I know people are piecing together that the Korok shield has some imagery or symbols that look like what Link's wearing, and that's fine. That's fine, because like Koroks are the Kokiri. So it's like shit that they drew back in the day, they still use those symbols in Wind Waker. They still use the Kokiri symbol in Wind Waker. So like they could decide, you know what, I don't want to use the Kokiri one anymore. I want to use the other Kokiri one. You know what I mean? As a Korok. So that's okay. That's not like that's not lore breaking. But once they start saying shit about Zonai and stuff, that's when I'm gonna be like, fuck, man. Anything that relates to Tears of the Kingdom's past, or that you find an ancient construct on the ground or some shit like that that looks like the Zonai ones, that's what's like, damn it. What I do hope, this is my biggest hope. If the Deku Tree is not the one that's narrating the beginning of this new Zelda, right? If it's not him, I hope it's a Zonai reading to his son, like it's Rauru and his dad talking about the old Zeldas, like it's a fucking story. Then I'll be like, yes, dude, I'm fucking so happy. I'm so glad this happens. Like, now I have confirmation 100% that Tears of the Kingdom's ancient past is the future of all the timelines. No, the trailer talk. Look at. Listen to the trailer here. I'll play the trailer, and look at how it's said. Okay. Look at how the trailer is said. Hold on. Hold on. What? I got kicked? Alright, you guys ready? Hold on, let me put it up for you guys. I don't even know why it's like this right now. Hold on. Whoops. Right. Why is it? It looks off. I thought I had this perfect. I thought I had this all lined up nice. Okay. Let me turn Minecraft off because I'm done with Minecraft. I gotta work on my video. Okay, ready? Ready? Look. Listen to the words that are used, though.
Long ago, there was a land called Hyrule, created by beings of supreme divinity.
See, long ago, there was a land called Hyrule. It means, like, maybe at this point, it doesn't exist. Long ago, there was a land. Right?
At the very edge of this kingdom, there lay a small forest.
Okay, so obviously this can't be like during Rauru's time because there was a great forest of Hyrule, and that was north, and it was at the edge, but not really.
Within it, an ancient solitary tree quietly watched over the inhabitants of the forest.
So unless that's him saying, I was that tree, I'm just saying, best case scenario, this is Rauru's dad, our grandpa,
forest dwellers
talking to Rauru.
Kokiri. Each had a fairy.
Or any Zonai.
And they lived out their innocent lives in these woods. However, there was one particular boy.
Yeah, it could be also for the trailer.
Fairy.
the name like that would have looked cool too. Like if it was like gray. I don't mind this style. I just wish it was red though. But this is the best font to use. Skyward Sword has the ugliest font, man. I hate Skyward Sword's font. My favorite game, ugliest font. All right. But that's it. I'm gonna. I don't know how I'm gonna do this video. Like I have a lot of the audio and stuff. I'll probably use like some of the. I don't know. Maybe I'll just put a piece of fucking Jello there and just keep taking spoonfuls of it, eating it while I tell like my story about Zelda and how I feel about it. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I'll figure something out. But listen everybody. I love you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. I will talk to you guys soon. Yeah, I'm trying to put this video together, but it's just the visuals are just super eluding me, and I don't really want to put gameplay. I don't know, dude. I don't know. All I want to say is like how I feel about Zelda. How everybody is like talking shit about like, oh my gosh, it's the 50th remake of Ocarina of Time, bro. And it's like, besides saying that, yo, Metal Gear has its remakes, Halo has its remakes, The Last of Us had its remakes and remasters, or their definitive editions. Kingdom Hearts has a billion of them. It's a thing that companies do, right? Are you gonna really go out and find a Nintendo 64 and a cartridge that works, and a Nintendo 64 controller that works, and an old analog TV where you can play it and have the same feelings? Like, no, they try to modernize it. Not only that, they try to bring it like here with emulators, and it's not that it's not the same. It's like, here's the biggest thing: you're not forced to buy it. If you don't like it, cool. Like, it's like every day there's a fucking movie, or every week there's a new movie that comes out. You don't have to watch all of them. Why? Because they don't pique your interest. So why the fuck are you complaining about like, oh dude, I'm not gonna buy this Zelda. It's like the 90th time they remade it. Or I don't like this style of graphics. Like, okay, cool. You don't like it. Move on. I get it. I swear everybody on Twitter just likes to fucking... I feel it's like a contest of who can be the biggest bitch that hates things the most. Like, let me find any excuse to not like it. Like, oh, dude, the way that strand of hair went across, like, his ear, I didn't like that. If they didn't do that, it's like, shut the fuck up. But then I want to also talk about my hopes that I see in this game. And my excitement of, like, to see certain scenes remade and stuff. Like, dude, it's going to be crazy to see, like, certain parts. You know? Oh yeah, I saw somebody complaining about the bed too, where it's like, dude, he's living poorer than he used to. It's like, why did they do that to him? It's like... And then, of course, like I said, it's hard to determine if it's, and I hate saying this, rage bait, or if it's just people being shitty. Like they just hate it. And it's like the whole saying rage bait stuff is just kind of like, oh man. Like, you might have a stupid ass take, and then when you get told that it's stupid and like with sense and logic, you're like, it was just rage bait, bro. You took it. It's like, shut the fuck up, you idiot. You're just a fucking idiot. But I know Nintendo's not really gonna make a stupid game. Like, okay, I am sure they know that this is the highest game, like this is the highest rated game of all time. And I really think that, yeah, they plan to fuck it up. It's like, no, I know they're gonna like do as best they can to make a. And again, it's their game, so they can make it how they want and how they look. And that's one thing I do like about Nintendo is they don't fucking give in. Everybody talks shit about Wind Waker, and they were disappointed. Like, nah, we're still gonna fucking make it. And what did everybody do? Dude, this game's actually really sick. Wind Waker's my favorite. And then when Twilight Princess came out, they're like, why did they make it look realistic? They're never happy. I like that Nintendo's like, just shut the fuck up. We'll do our own thing and leave it at that. If they're remaking this game, I'm sure they on the same engine they could remake Majora's Mask. Would I want it? Yes. Like I would want a modern looking Zelda, like a modern looking 3D Legend of Zelda. Like imagine the controls, how much better they're gonna feel, and if the free cam, like looking around. I was trying to play Ocarina of Time the other day. I had a button map my controllers on the Switch Pro controller. I fucking wish Nintendo would have the 6 buttons like they did before, the C buttons, up, down, left, right, and they had B and A. Like that was so sick, dude. Like even for fighters, like you had 6 face buttons. And then they went GameCube and they're like, nope, we're gonna make it look like Lego controller. This is a Lego controller. And to be fair, the GameCube controller was fucking comfortable. But I wish it did have more buttons. Because when you played the Ocarina of Time remake on there, using that little nub for the C stick, that shit was fucking trash. It did not substitute the C buttons when playing the Ocarina. But alright, everybody, I'm gonna take off for now. I got some editing and shit to record and do. And I'll see you guys a little later. Thanks for hanging out for the Legend of Zelda Minecraft collaboration. And almost 3 hours of this shit. I love you guys. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, everybody. Peace. Again, thanks for all the super chats and the members earlier on. And Camelo, I don't know, dude. That Discord is sacred, and you highly, highly offended me a billion times. So you're gonna have to be in good graces. All right, everybody. I love you. I'll talk to you guys soon. Goodbye, you guys. Goodbye. Camelo, for now, you gotta think about what you did. All right. I'll see you guys later. Peace.